All right, XPTers, how's it going? We're back again. This time we have Louis on hand. I do have a confession because this will be the first time that I share one of these with the bike community. So welcome, bike community. My confession is that I like puppets, and my puppet community, I have a confession. I like bikes. Oh God,
We're bridging.
feels so good to get that off my chest.
You've been walking around that for decades. It's like it's aged you, Wade. It's like I'm glad to be part of this therapy session for you. It's like we're breaking new ground. We're bridging worlds.
No, yeah, for sure. Uh,
We're bringing people together, man. We're changing the
we
world, brother.
we are. Um, so Louis, I would name your piece, but I think at the time, the last I heard from it or about it, you didn't actually have a title. Do we have a title yet for your piece?
Yeah, it's called bikes.
Bikes. Um,
Bikes.
so
That's
you
what it's
have a
called. Why
piece
not?
in XPT this year, and it's entitled Bikes.
Yeah.
Now, when we first met, we met over at the Push Push Theater
Yeah.
doing some acting classes, and
Hmm.
you had mentioned to me that you had actually had played with puppets before. Um,
Yeah.
so can you explain to us a little about your history with puppets, and was this piece that you were doing with puppets, was this your own piece, or were you doing it for someone else?
This my experience with puppets has been since university. I was part of a children's university. So no, none of the puppets have been mine to answer that question. I've always been working with other companies that have had puppets either as their main thing or specific shows that use puppetry in that show that I was in. But so it started off in university in California, and we did this half Spanish, half English tour around California with all sorts of finger puppets, body puppets, sock puppets, um, and rod puppets, no marionettes. And so that's kind of where I got like really interested in doing. I loved it, and then throughout sort of my acting stuff, I've been I hate saying my acting career, darling, my acting, but just like doing the acting, I have been in shows that have had various different levels of puppetry. One time I played a dog that was made out, it was like ended up giving it to my daughter as a stuffed toy because it was basically a stuffed toy. It was me holding a stuffed toy dog, but I used it as a puppet. It wasn't like a specific type of puppet. I don't know. Is there a name for that type of puppetry where you just have the thing and you just grab it wherever you can and move it?
Yeah, found object.
Found object puppetry.
Mhm.
Okay. So I mean this wasn't like found. I mean it was like but I guess that makes sense because it was built as like a stuffed toy that looked like a dog. And then it but that was really cool because you still get the play element of it where you're just watching the puppet and you can the hands disappear and like it was really cool. It takes you back to being a kid again. um and then the one of the most intense ones I did was a 6 month tour of Frankenstein where I played it was a 6'5" um Boone Raku. I don't know, do you say Boone Raku or Boone Raku?
I say Raku.
Boonraku. Yeah, it was a 6'5" Boonraku creation by Yvette Stone, who worked on the first war horse in at the National Theatre. She built it, and she's phenomenal puppetry sort of person in England. And I was the lip sync, the eyes, and the right hand, which also had like a lever to move fingers and stuff. And then we had somebody on the body and the left hand, and then somebody on the feet. And so we practiced for like 3 months getting the movement of this like ethereal creature. Oh man, it was. I had to have physical therapy afterwards after the tour because I was like on my shoulder because I was holding up this creature with my right arm and doing, and it was such an intense character. It was like a creature that was like screaming at Frankenstein, "Why won't you tell me why you made me?" It's a tragic story if you don't know the Mary Shelley, like the book, um, the Mary Shelley book. But it was like something that really locked in like puppetry for me, so and I've seen XPT, and I fell in love with it. I think it's like one of the most amazing forms of storytelling.
So did you get this part because of how tall you are?
I think that probably helped. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, I think I was discriminated, positive discrimination as far as my height goes, but because
So,
it's hard to get.
away from that joke though. Uh, Concerning the
Yeah.
person, so I actually saw War Horse when it came to Atlanta. Beautiful, beautiful show.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
was it the same kind of uh puppet building that they did with the War Horse? Like, could you see through Frankenstein, or was it all kind of
No,
enclosed piece? Or
it was the concept was that Frankenstein was made out of rope because the book is a narrate is narrated. The story is narrated by a ship captain, and so the whole play started on a boat with loads of ropes and stuff, and so as he's telling the story, the creature kind of comes alive and looks like it's made out of the ropes of the ship, and it was foam, but it was not light foam. It was heavy foam and very solid, very hard. I don't know, foam might not be the right material, but it was kind of foamy, solid foam. Um, and Yeah, I mean, it was just one of the most like difficult but incredible experiences. Also, just like working in tandem with two other people to create one thing. That was next level for me anyway, because I'd always just done it by myself and like trying to get something to come alive. But to get like to sync your minds up with two people every night, it was incredible. We all did like certain voices too. We all like breathed together. Broth or breathed.
breathe?
We all breathed together. Yeah, breathed. And that was yeah. Really, I think I felt like my puppetry skills kind of like came up, like jumped up a level on that
Sure,
show.
sure. One of the things that I really enjoy about you, Louis, from the moment that I met you, is that you're obviously one of those people I would call an actor with a capital A,
Oh
meaning
God,
that
no,
no, it's not,
that
it's
is
not a
no.
bad thing. It just means that you're really invested in the character and really exploring the background and the reasoning why your character is doing certain things. Is that something
Yeah,
that you feel like you brought to your piece for XPT as well? Is that exploration of
yeah.
why this piece? Why are you doing it as a puppet piece and the themes that you're exploring within it?
Yeah, I mean, God, yeah, definitely. But when you're an actor, all you have to do is just do that, right? You just think, okay, why am I here? What am I doing? When you're producing and directing and writing a piece, you're like, where am I getting a fucking bike rack from? You know what I mean? Instead of thinking, sorry, I'm swearing. I don't know. I don't know if the XPT crowd can handle the swearing. I mean, I don't know. Is this you can swear, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, totally.
Okay, great. Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely like I know why I want to do this piece, and I know what the characters why they want to do what they want to do. It is kind of putting on different hats, a lot of different hats, and going, okay, producer hat, writer hat, director hat, acting hat, and then also we're developing kind of like a new physical language too, like a movement hat, where we're sort of how much do you want me to give away of the show?
I mean, I don't want you to give away any direct plot points, but you can definitely talk about the show and the general ideas behind it.
Okay, cool. So we are turning humans into bicycles, and that takes a different approach. I'm finding it's taking a different approach as far as like um sort of a theatrical presentation of what that means physically is like very different to sort of, I don't know, dancing or something like that, or like any other form of theater where it's predominantly physical. And I mean, all theater is physical, I think, but like when you're turning people into like, ostensibly inanimate objects that we are making animate, it becomes like a different approach. So it's kind of a new language we're trying to develop.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
it's
yeah,
it's
kind of a long
similar
way
to
around about.
it's similar to like mask work is what I think that your piece kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of, which is like puppet adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah,
You called it body puppetry, which I thought was really cool
yeah, yeah.
because it is kind of body puppetry. We are using our bodies as the puppets themselves with the help of a few, props and stuff and like wheels and things like that. So and then we also have we built a car. So there is some sort of, I don't know if that's traditional puppetry, but that's more traditional puppetry. And we're using projections and music, live music. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically about, you know, how we are sort of trapped in this realm of go to work, go home, do home. There's one of the bikes has kind of looks the other way and goes, wait, what happens if we do this? Would our lives be a little bit better, or can we enter a different paradigm of existence if we try to look at life in a slightly different way? And then he has something that just completely blows his mind, and he's like, "Wait, what? That's what's happening?"
Can you
So
talk?
it's a little matrixy.
Go on, go on.
Yeah, go on. No, it's a little matrixy. It's a little Wizard of Ozzy. It's a little psychedelia thrown in there. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the three main characters and what they represent, and also the allegory that you're taking the story from?
Okay. Yeah. There's actually four. I would say there's four characters, and I say there's two main characters. There's the sort of we're trying to do an allegory of Plato's cave allegory, where um basically there's people. I mean, this is a very truncated version, but there's people that are in a cave looking at shadows on the wall, and they think that that's reality, and they're giving each other awards and stuff like that, and like commenting on the shadows. And one of the characters turns around and sees a fire, and in one of the versions anyway, turns around and sees a fire and realizes that the fire behind them is creating the shadows on the wall that the people are looking at, and so they're looking at shadows of themselves, and he tries to tell them to look around and look at the fire, and they tell him that he tells them, that you're actually looking at shadows of yourself, like the world is a projection of yourself. And they're like, you're crazy, and they in some versions, I think they kill him. um so we're doing that where one of the bikes turns around, quote unquote, looks at the fire and realizes that. I mean, I don't want to give away like the big reveal, but
Yeah, yeah.
realizes something about their reality that is pretty mind blowing to this character. And so one of the characters are kind of based off of bicycles. Dutch is based off of a Dutch bicycle, which is kind of like a pretty much bog standard Dutch design, like just you know nothing, you know nothing very
It's a comfortable bike.
special.
It's
Comfortable bike. Thank you very
yes.
much. It's a very comfortable sort of like a man in a bait, like the human equivalent would be just a man in just a general suit with
Yeah.
like a jacket and a tie and a white shirt, just going to work with a suitcase. Good night, see you at 5. And then there's Cruise, which is like a beach cruiser. He's kind of like, whatever, dude, just, hey man, just go with the flow. And then the main character, one of the main characters is called Fixie, has no brakes, one gear, just like he's the one who kind of like um is breaking the mold and like turns around and sees the fire, so to speak. And so he's kind of like, kind of, I don't want to say punk, but he's kind of like a angsty teen. And if you've ever been on any group rides, then you know what I mean. Then there's Fixie. So, and then the character that he meets is based off of a BMX bike. And I used to live with professional BMX riders, and I used to go and build trails and stuff. I never did any like I never did any BMX riding, but I watched so many BMX videos. I lived with a guy who was professional with a company S&M Bikes. I don't know if you're familiar
I
with
am not.
S&M,
Yeah, no.
but I think they're based out of California. But he kind of like opened my eyes to bikes and stuff, and I've always had like bikes in my life. At college, I was befriended a guy who was a professional mountain bike racer, and I just I had a really good relation. One of the things I bonded with my dad over is like bikes, and we used to go on bike rides, and he taught me how to change a tire, and like how to change an inner tube, and all this type of stuff. So I've always had like, and I haven't meant for it to happen. It's just kind of always been like a very important part of my life. I've just always turned around. Like when I first came to Atlanta, I didn't have a car, and I rode my bike. Sorry, can you see me? I know it's kind of getting a little bit black, like shade. I first came to Atlanta, did not have a car, and I went to Sopo Bike Community. Didn't have hardly any money to get to buy a bike, so I went to Sopo Bike Community, and I that was when it was on Memorial, Moreland and Memorial, and I built a bike, a 1985 Fuji Allegro, and I rode that thing. I loved, and I mean loved that bike. Like I rode it everywhere for about a year and a half, and it was just like had some pretty cool, almost pseudo spiritual moments on it. And when it broke, which was last year, I haven't got a new bike. It's like I don't want to be in a relationship with another bike yet. I'm not ready. Like it's kind of seriously. I mean, I was like, I missed it, man. It was the down tube broke away from the headstock as I was riding, and
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty sad. I was actually really sad. I took pictures of it and filmed it going into the junkyard and stuff. I mean, maybe that's a little bit too much, but bike
Was
love
it
is real,
a rust issue or
You know what? I didn't. I think it was just there was probably some hairline fracture in it because it's
yeah,
Sopo, so it's used bike.
sure.
But I didn't see any rust. The paint was fine and everything, and I didn't see any rust underneath. It just kind of just came away, and yeah, I missed that bike. But I do need to get another one like as soon as possible because yeah, I miss riding. I miss the group rides, and now it's getting to be perfect riding weather.
It's perfect right now. It's so
Yeah, I
beautiful
met you.
outside.
It's perfect. Yeah.
So when you originally thought of this idea, it was kind of a collaboration between you and Adam Clark, right? Who I've
Yes. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
interviewed in this series before, last year.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, did you guys know that you were going to turn humans into bikes, or were the bikes going to be more puppet oriented, or how did that kind of evolve, the whole idea? And how fun, if it is fun, I could only assume, uh, are you having building your characters from the different personalities of bikes and the type of people that ride those bikes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean we're getting there. I mean, it's really fun. It's really fun to see how that's developing. We're at a stage where we're still developing some of the movement choreography, the language of how the bike actually moves, and as we're doing that, I can see the characters kind of coming out. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to really be like pulling out those distinctive characters. And it's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, and also the costumes as well. You know, one of the costumes like tassels on the we have. I mean, should I give? We have like handlebars attached to our heads, so you know, people have like tassels coming down from them, and it's and then there's like reflectors in the right where the third eye is. So when the third eye awakens, like it becomes it like glistens. Um, but I mean I think as far as like whether we knew it was going to be humans and or whether it's going to be puppets, I had the idea of doing this in London when I was riding my bike around, and I would lock my bike up in an outdoor covered um bike whatever rack that was like had you know multiple like tens of bike like it would be like I don't know 50 bikes in there, and I just remember like looking at all the bikes and seeing how different they were and seeing how the characters in the bikes were just so apparent. Just what you know, where the bells were, the bike, the brakes, the type of seat, how high the seat was. And I just imagine like when I closed the gate, they would all be talking to each other, you know, and they'd all have different voices and stuff like that. And it was like I was like, that would be a good play. Like these bikes just having their own existence and what would they do and how would it sort of transpire as to what they did in the day and then the realization that you know that we try to explore in this play, what would that do to their world, and so I always knew that I wanted to do it as humans as bikes, because it's kind of a I don't know, it's kind of a human story like what we're exploring but using the allegory of a bike, um, or the metaphor of a bike and the allegory of the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was, and also it's just cool to see humans being bikes.
So I know you're in the middle of it. We're all kind of in the middle of it right now, getting our pieces together.
Yeah.
For people who haven't seen XPT, each piece is usually somewhere in the range of 10 minutes in length. But our hope is always that people will take these ideas and give them a new life somewhere else. Expand on the idea, make the pieces longer and stuff like that. Do you see that as a potential for this piece, or right now you just try to
Oh,
get to that 10-minute mark and be done with it?
I'm trying to get out 10 minutes. We're probably going to go a little bit over the 10 minutes. I'm not
All
going to
right,
lie.
sure.
But I mean, yeah, you say sure now, but then we'll see. When the Zoom stops recording, it's like, wait, what? 10 minute, dude? No, no, no. Um, dude, I am thinking about take making this a full length play like every day. I am so excited about like what we could do with this. Like there's just this is a tiny snippet, like a very very important snippet of the whole story that we could explore. But I am I'm really really wanting to take this to Edinburgh Fringe Festival maybe this year. I mean that's kind of like a huge pie in the sky because that's going to cost about $20,000, probably more. But like seriously, I think that there is a lot that we could do with this, and it looks really cool. and the story is, I really love the story. So yeah, man, like every day I'm thinking like, how can I keep doing this? Like, where else can I do this? Like, even though it is only like 10, 12, 15 minutes, it's still it's there's still a lot more that we can explore. And just, God, I mean, if anybody listening wants comes and sees it and wants to put it up somewhere else or like help develop it, please let me know, because I mean, I think we could do a lot with it, and I think it's just super fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm really having a good time, and that's a good sign to me.
Awesome. One last question about your piece
Yeah,
for XBT, and then we'll get into something
yeah,
else real fast. And that is, since I
yeah.
admitted from the beginning of this video that I like puppets and that I like bikes, and there's two facets of my world being exposed there. Um, did you come up with this piece just because you knew that I would give it the green light?
No, I mean, Adam said, I met with Adam. I was like, hey man, I really want to turn people into bicycles. Like, how can I do it? And then he was great. We met in a coffee shop and we kind of like drew out some of the images, and then he was like, oh, what would be really cool to do this would be like XPT. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. And then I'm not gonna lie, I did think, oh, and Wade likes bikes too. So I mean, I don't know if, I mean, yeah, secretly I kind of like hoped that, because you like bikes, you might like this project. But when we met for the sit down meet, like I did not feel any kind of um like that you liked the project just because it was bikes. You were very much about like, what's the story, what's, how are you going to do it, what's the budget, and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, of course, wait, no, seriously, I was like, he likes bike. No, but I mean, no, sorry, I didn't do it just because it would get accepted. No, I mean, but maybe I should next time. Probably.
I mean, it's a smart idea. Find out who the director is, find out their interest beyond theater or puppets, and
Yeah,
cater directly to
I
them.
know. Yeah, but then aren't you? Isn't that called selling your soul for like just so you can get something that you want done? Because you want. I mean, not that you want done just because you want to get money to do something. I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, it's like, do you just do what other people want, or do you try to answer some questions that are like bugging you, or like explore some ideas that you know you want to spend your life exploring? It's getting
There,
very
there you
philosophical,
go
but
with that capital A again. You're questioning, going deep with me. So
yeah.
some things that people might not know about you is that you are a magician, musician, that you play the
Yeah.
drums mainly, right?
I play the drums. What did you say?
Oh, just that you're a
Sorry, you broke up.
musician.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
play the drums. Um, I was in a show called Stomp for like 6 years. I toured America with that. It's actually how I came to Atlanta. Um, and the first time in 2000, like quite a long time ago. And Yeah, I mean, I started out playing the piano and then went to guitar and then started playing the drums. So I devolved, some musicians would say. Um, but there is drumming in this show. I love the aspect of rhythm in all shows. I think rhythm is in everything, and I think that if you can put drums in a show, I'll do that at any point. You
Well,
know,
one
Pride and
of the
Prejudice. I'll
where
throw a
you
drum
kind
in there.
yeah, where you kind of show off that talent is that sometimes you will use that to busk around cities and stuff like that. And of course, what I'm getting to now is the fact that last year you helped create a busking version of the Atlanta Fringe Festival for them, which I believe was a
Yeah,
total success. Are you going to be doing this again this year? And if so, what are the plans for this year?
Yeah. So yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it was really cool. We had basically took over Little Five Points. It was called Busker Takeover. It's called the actual name of the festival is the Atlanta Street Fringe Festival, and it's part of the Atlanta Fringe Festival, which is a theater festival that's running for 2 weeks this year. At the end of May, beginning of no, yeah, at the end of May, beginning of June. The Street Fringe Festival is May 31st, June 1st, June 7th, and June 8th. And we have two locations. We're going to be in East Atlanta Village and Little Five Points. And we have like different plots around them where we have all sorts of buskers, which is another word for street performing. And they basically, we've got like burlesque, we've got flamenco, clowning, singer-songwriters, we've got magic, we've got all sorts of performers, and it's yeah, it's sort of like I just love the idea of putting cool shit on the street for people to. Well, I mean, sort of growing up in England, like you see busking everywhere. It's a very normal thing, and there's so much sort of talent and like people that want to make stuff here. And if we can provide a space for them to do it where loads of people can walk past them and see him and they have their information there, they can drop some money in there. It just, it brings a lot of it brings a lot of sort of I mean, I hate to say the word like culture, but it brings sort of like a certain vibe to the area, which is not like, here, come and stand and listen to this band and you must come at this time and this time. It's kind of you just walk past it and you're experiencing all of this art and all of this sort of skill and craft that is around you, and that does something to, I don't know, it creates a cool vibe. It just creates like a really nice um atmosphere
Yeah,
and showcases a lot of local talent and
go on.
yeah.
I
No,
was just
I
about
mean that was it,
I was just about to say
I
that
think.
it's to me at least, everything you're describing, and when I went and walked around all the different acts that were around Little Five Points last year as part of the busking. The thing I loved about it
Yeah.
was it reminded me of my time on a bike. All the different
Oh, cool.
sights, smells, and things that you hear on a bike that you would never be exposed to by being in a car. And that's the
Yeah.
great thing about having people just kind of walking around doing their normal thing, going to criminal records or wherever to go buy something, and they just happen to come across this street performer.
Yes. That's the idea. That's the idea. I mean, everything is so sort of, I find like metered and measured now. It's like, well, got to be here at this time, got to be here at this time. The show starts at this time. We've got to be, it kind of, it opens out, if just walking by and coming across something that's amazing, that's so cool when that happens, when you're just like in a space and something else that's super, super amazing just wafts into your world and it sort of changes your paradigm, changes your perspective a little bit. And that I don't know, man. I just feel like that's kind of like lost now. Like being able to want, like, what does Tolkien say? Like, all those who wander are not lost. It's that type of idea, where like you can just wander around and that's the point. Like, there's no, and you can experience and you can be enlightened or illuminated or inspired by the things around you. And we kind of like lose that a little bit. Like there's, everybody's on their own track and doing their own thing. And like you say, when you're on a bike, you kind of like you have to be aware of all of your surroundings, especially riding on these Atlanta streets, It's like you got to be aware, especially the fucking potholes. When I started riding bike here, I was like, these potholes are like deadly. like like Jesus.
It's probably what broke
But
your
anyway,
bike.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Um, my Fuji. So yeah, I mean, I think that the busking festival is cool. I mean, yeah, we're doing it again this year. I mean, we're kind of stepping up, so hopefully, it's a bit more work. Hopefully, we'll be able to do the same thing, you know.
That's great. Well, and talking
Yeah.
about losing things, we're about to lose our time with Zoom here. So
Cool.
remind us again when the Atlanta Fringe Street Festival is happening, the dates.
The street fringe is May 31st, June 1st, June 7th, and June 8th. Um, and the Fringe Festival are those 2 weeks. Like, so those are two weekends, and then the actual Theatre Fringe Festival is the exact dates are escaping me because I'm so focused on the Street Fringe, but it's those 2 weeks, end of May, beginning of June. That's the Atlanta Fringe Festival, and there's tons of theater. Go and see it. Go to the website, ATL Fringe um, Festival. And I'm probably getting the name of the website wrong too, but just Google Atlanta Fringe Festival and it will come up. And there's just acts from all over the country, international acts. It's a phenomenal thing, and it's unsung, and it's not very well known, but it's been going for about 12 years. So I would definitely come and check it out. And then while you're walking around, you'll see some cool buskers, and drop some money in their hats. And also come and see bikes.
Bikes! Yeah, so obviously all
Bikes.
all my puppet people, we got XPT coming up, end of April, going to the
Yeah.
first part of May. Um, but especially my bike people, hey, this is your chance to come see the other side of my love and hopefully
Yeah.
your new love, is what I'm hoping, is adult puppetry. So, yeah, we have at least one piece that I'm pretty sure you're really going to enjoy. Louis, thank you so much for your time.
No.
Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Wade.
you talking to me about this.
That
And
was great, man.
yeah, we'll see each other really soon.
See each other soon. Yeah, this weekend.